Nickolas has been working with me for the last few months. He is an Olympic weightlifter, has a background in CrossFit. He came to me because he was having some aches and pains and injuries, always felt freaking tight, and no amount of stretching or mobility would help. And so he actually got started with me doing a challenge, realized how much better he felt doing some warm-ups and things like that. And then he came over to do my full programming. So do you care to just kind of explain like kind of where you felt like you were starting at a few months ago when we first started, or right before we first started, and then kind of where you're at now?
Absolutely. So a couple months ago, it felt more like I knew what I could do, but I wasn't capable of accomplishing being able to do it. And it felt like a hamster wheel of results. I was like, okay, I'm starting to lift again. Like it feels good, but I was just dedicated at trying. That was pretty much it. I would get to the same stopping point. Everything was tight. I would go to work, and if we had to do any digging or trenching or bending over to work on anything, like it was immediately like locking up on one side of my back. And I tried to do a bunch of stuff on my own, like tried a bunch of different things to see what would give, but nothing gave. And then that's when I reached out to you. And then it started with the mobility challenge. And like almost immediately I saw changes for myself. And then when the mobility challenge was over, in my mind, I was like, I need to have her. So I hit you up about the mobility programming for my warm-ups. And just based on that, I felt like I was taking flight. And then my training itself is what was off after that. And so I thought because of how much I was putting into it, it had to get results. However, you're a pro and I'm not. And so you got to go to the professionals about it. And I jumped on your programming. You helped me out with my goals, first of all, because I really didn't even know what I wanted to do with my goals, because I got like discouraged from getting the same results and not like constantly hitting PRs or feeling like I could handle whatever comes my way or whatever. And then I reached out to you about goals, and I was like, I don't even know what to do. I just put some stuff down to check a box. You gave me some like guidance podcasts and some insight stuff on how to set goals. I went through that, and then like everything changed, and I felt like inspired, and like I wanted to wake up in the morning, started the program, and like I knew I needed to wait a little bit before I saw results or whatever. But it was like first day felt good, second day was pumped, third day was the fourth, and it was every day since then. I haven't had any bad training days. There's like days I hit more, or I have more misses than attempts lifted, but there's not like crazy pain. It's still fun again. It feels like I just got into a new sport again, but I've been at it for a couple of years. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm excited about competing in like a month, around a month. I went like 2 years without competing because I wasn't sure about if I'd be able to perform or if it was going to hurt me too much afterwards or whatever. But that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I think for you, like the biggest thing that we found is like you weren't actually tight. Your body just felt tight. And we actually found the opposite problem. Your joints were a little looser, right? And so
For mobile.
Yep, hypermobile. There you go. So we actually didn't do like a ton of mobility or anything like that for range of motion, right? We did mobility to work on that in range of motion strength, and those stability muscles. And honestly, I do think that that's been a big reason why, you're not having pain and you're feeling good in the gym and things like that. So, boom. Okay. So what were the assessments like for you? Like what did you expect kind of going into it, and what do you feel like you got from those?
The mobility assessments?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So whenever I knew I was going to do the assessments. In my head, I wasn't like super sure, but I've done a couple assessments, and I was like, okay, I'm going to point out that it hurts when I do this. And then I'm going to get told that it looks fine as far as my form. And then I'm going to be like, but it still hurts. And then it's going to be like, well, it looks all right. I'm like, cool. That's not the point. So I did the assessments. And I'm thinking we're going this way. And whenever I got into them, I realized there was a whole nother avenue. And I'm like, I don't know why she's having me do this motion. I'm over here checking my thumb and like seeing if I can touch the ground and whatnot. I was like, that's not where I struggle. I struggle because I can't do this. You're like, no. You need to stop moving as much. And you taught me that I was hypermobile. So then I got like a basis of, oh, I know more about myself. I could take that into account and start running with that and get better results based off that alone. And then after the assessments, I kind of had a better understanding of where I should stay away and where I should jump back in, essentially.
Yep. No, perfect. Yeah. So the Baton test is the one where we were like doing all those. And that is kind of what helped clue us in as to, hey, there might be some hypermobility. And then we could check the other joints. But I really do feel like, even though that test felt like it was like, what are we doing? It definitely helped to get you to the point where we could be like, oh, okay, like this actually makes a lot of sense now, like why you're moving the way you are. So yeah, cool. All right.
I'm sorry, but I also learned a lot about the other part of the assessments when we discussed like sleep, stress, routine, scheduling, like time management. Like that's what really kind of helped set everything in order for myself to be able to stick to the program. Because I have all the wherewithal in the world to want to do it and to try to do it, but I wasn't setting myself up for success. I was like creating obstacles every day to try to get around to accomplish a goal.
Yeah, no. And sometimes, less is more, and honestly just figuring out a system and a routine that works for you. And then, building on that, honestly, that's what kind of breeds success right there. So I think that's what you found. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go, he says. Next question for you. Overall programming and week to week, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you have enough feedback? Do you feel like you're getting the support you need? Do you feel like you're getting the form checks that you need and things like that? Just kind of paint a picture of what week to week looks like for you from a programming standpoint.
All right. So from the programming standpoint, on a week to week basis, there's certain lifts I'm required to send videos of to make sure forms squared away, or if it needs improvement, then it gets corrected. Just a major accountability. So week to week, it looks like I show up, start the warm up, train, take the videos on the certain movements that I need to take. As soon as I'm done, I send the videos into you. I think the longest I've waited is like a day or two to get feedback. There's constant correction being done to where the next training session I'm already able to start applying whatever I learned that I need to fix. I talk a lot. I talk so much. So I always pop up with questions and stuff like that. And I flood you with questions sometimes. But you've definitely been super patient and very like long suffering in the amount of questions and the guidance and making sure you're getting me the answers for what I need, or letting me know it's not really something, but maybe this way could give you the answers. So I would say accountability, feedback, form check, access to being able to talk to you or contact you. There's no like office is open from the time that I'm at work and it closes right before I get off work. It's like, hey, this is what, and everything was able to work to where really it felt like it was set up the easiest way for my personality to be able to thrive. And that's why everything's working. But that might just be a feeling.
Love it. Is there anybody that you would or would not recommend Beyond Recovery or myself too?
Absolutely. So I would recommend you to everybody, truthfully, because my boss's wife is in an office environment. You're able to help her. Blue collar, you're able to help me. There's other people that are clients of yours that I know were athletics of a whole different style, and you're able to help such like a broad array of everybody, because you don't have like blanket statements for people's injuries. You don't have like, oh, well, this equals that for every single person in the world. You take into account the individual differences. The only people I would not recommend you to would be people that I saw were going to waste your time. Like if I just didn't think, like if they just played the runaround in the first conversation of talking about their injury, I'm like, you just want to talk about the injury. Those would be the only people I don't recommend you to.
Okay. Do you feel like there's any like personality traits or anything like that that would make someone like super successful working with me?
Like what the client would have?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like
absolutely.
Okay, there we go.
Absolutely. All right. Yes. So if you want to thrive and attain the utmost potential of what you can attain and growth of what you can achieve, if you're joining Beyond Recovery, is hands down going to be, you need some sort of self-regulatory discipline. You have to be able to parent yourself, because the way things work in life, you're never going to feel like it at the opportune time. However, the opportune time right now, because there's already an injury and you need it to be fixed before there's more injuries. So if you're able to, you need to be able to do the things you don't necessarily feel like wanting to do. And then you also need to be able to have the like self-motivation. You also need to be able to have a sense of vulnerability almost, because you have to talk about your weakest aspects physically. You have to talk about what maybe you're struggling with. You have to talk about needing help. And like, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes we want to look like we have everything squared away. And you don't want to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I have done everything I could and I know nothing about this. It's very humbling to do. So I think some people just have to get to the point where, like, personally, I know I had talked with you for a while before actually like starting to work with you. And I just kept thinking I was going to do something different that was going to work. And then I realized it was a matter of I would do anything to fix it. And when I got to the point where I was like, I'm so tired of these limitations, these boundaries, and the self-esteem drops, like everything. If you feel a monster one day or tough, like very athletic one day, and then all of a sudden you're not able to do those things, it's like a switch flips, and you're not understanding why you feel worse. So I had personally, I had to get to the point where I feel like, or I felt like I would do anything to change. So I do think you need to have the innate drive to be able to get out of your autopilot lifestyle, your routine, to break the routine and create a healthier lifestyle, better habits, get into more disciplined actions and whatever.
All right. Anything else in general?
Yeah, they need to be polite. In general, I would say this, like on a very summarized list, I would say you need to have self-discipline, you need to have accountability, which is provided with the program, but you have to be okay with being held accountable and being honest about mistakes and owning up to your stuff. So you need to have a sense of ownership and taking responsibility. And then you need to have a sense of open-mindedness because you don't know and you're trying to learn. I would say you have to come into it with the student's mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you.